quick context, this was recorded March 28th and 29th, so a couple of weeks ago at my live event, SaaSopen.com. We had 1,000 software CEOs there. If you missed it, we hope to see you at the next one, September 5th and 6th in New York City, SaaSopen.com. But for now, let's jump into the recording.
We hired him as our CRO. He looked at our plan and he said, "You guys are nuts." We expect to end this year at around 100 million, and we're building a $1 billion ARR company.
Hey folks, if we haven't met yet, my name is Nathan Latka. I launched and sold my first software company back in 2015 and went on to write a book about it, which you guys made a Wall Street Journal bestseller, purchasing over 30,000 copies. Thank you so much for that. After the book, I launched this show and went on to create FounderPath.com. I raised a large fund to do non-dilutive deals with B2B software founders. So far, we've invested in over 400 software founders, totaling $150 million. Here in 2024, we're doing 3 to 4 new deals per week. So if you're looking for capital and don't want to give up equity, go sign up at FounderPath.com for free to get your offer. All right, let's jump into the interview.
So first, an announcement. So if you were here during Nathan's session, he mentioned that I have a big announcement to make. And because the SaaS Open stage is where you break big news, I'm here to tell you that this morning at 6 a.m., we announced a $100 million D round led by OnePeak out of London. So I need you to do something for me. I'm going to speak to the camera. This is a shout out to OnePeak and David Klein and his team. Thank you for believing in us. Give it up for them. Thank you. So I am going to talk about something that is a little unusual for most startup founders. And this is all about channel first strategy. How many of you have a channel program in place? Okay, how many of you have a successful channel program in place? Cool. So very much a minority. So the entire storyline today is going to be about how we went from okay growth to explosive growth by leveraging the channel. So first of all, let's start with the session. So one, you can't skip direct. We'll talk about that. Not all channel partners are alike. And of course, the right channel is what we call a force multiplier. So this is the Coro revenue growth year over year. We've been growing 300% year over year for the last 3 years straight. This year, we expect anywhere between 200 to 300% growth over last year again. The numbers are becoming very large, so those leaps are becoming very difficult. So we expect to end this year at around 100 million, and we're building a $1 billion ARR company in the cybersecurity space. I should have said, Coro is the world's first and only modular cybersecurity platform that is targeting the mid-market. So if you look at cybersecurity in general, the entire industry is either focused, there's about 2,700 vendors. They're either focused on the enterprise market or they're focused on the consumer market. And really what they're trying to do is they're trying to shove an enterprise product down a mid-market company's throat or a consumer product down an SMB's throat. And we came to the table and we said, enough of that. We're going to build something that is unique to this market and target this market in a way nobody else has. So we've built a product from scratch. It's a SaaS product that covers basically all aspects of cybersecurity that a mid-market company might need. So as you can tell, in 2019, we had a very respectable 0 revenue. And we've grown since then very aggressively, including during COVID, including during all kinds of conflicts and so forth and so on. So when we launched the product, it was cybersecurity for SMBs. So we literally went into a dark room and built something that we thought they would need. So we built something for the first time that we called an all-in-one. So instead of buying multiple cybersecurity products, we made it very simple for them to consume it. It's one product that covers the user, the endpoint, the network, the cloud, the data, the email, everything in one system. In 2020, we launched it aggressively into the market with a very much old school direct sales model. So we had a team that basically out of Chicago that cold called into organizations and sold them cybersecurity. And you have to understand that when you look at the small businesses or the mid-market, the deal size is relatively small. So a cybersecurity company normally sells a deal size of anywhere between $700 to $1.5 million. We're a fraction of that. I'm talking to companies who are 200 employees, 500 employees, not 30,000. So we needed to figure out a really good way to scale this thing. And direct sales, while very important, didn't cut it. In comes in 2021 this fine gentleman, Jim Tarantino. We hired him as our CRO. He looked at our plan and he said, you guys are nuts. You can't sell direct. You need to sell direct, but you also need to build an aggressive channel program, which means other people are going to sell your stuff. And I don't know how many cybersecurity people you know. We are a very suspicious bunch because that's our job. And the concept of relinquishing control and letting somebody else run with our product was a very difficult thing for us. Jim convinced us, and he brought this guy, Tom Turner, who's there's actually a thing called channel chief. He's our channel chief. He's been doing it for 20 years, and he very meticulously started building a very aggressive channel program at Coro. In addition to that, what we heard from the channel was that our all-in-one concept was really good, but very hard for them to sell. Because all of their customers basically already had some sort of cybersecurity, so our story of, rip it out and put us instead was a little bit difficult. And in 2023, we reimagined our product as a modular cybersecurity platform. It's basically the same thing, but we allow customers and partners to consume it module by module. So if they want email security, they can just get email security. If they want endpoint security, great, they can just take that. And really, the entire approach with us and with our partners is a land and expand. So we go in selling endpoint security, and then we slowly try to displace everything else, and that's the training, and that's what we're doing. In 2024, we're making a massive investment in channel. How many of you have been to CPE in Las Vegas, Channel Partners Expo in Vegas? Incredible show. It's about 9,000 people that are all channel, that are coming out there to basically do deals, find out what else they can sell. And I'll talk about what I mean by channel in a moment. So we had a massive booth there. We actually won Best of Booth in the show. And we brought in a very large team. And basically, it was a statement. We're here. We're serious about the channel. And this is what, and the channel is very important to us. And we're here to build with you and support you. So here's an interesting graph. This is our direct to channel mix. So we started with pure direct. 2022 was still very much direct. 2020 direct. 2021, channel becoming a little bit more prominent, about 20%. Right now, we are at about 70% channel. 2023, we ended at 70%. And in 2024, we expect it to be 85%. Now, why are we even keeping direct? If channel is so successful, why keep the direct? Two reasons. Direct is our way of testing the market with new products, new concepts. Our channel partners don't have an appetite for testing or adventures or new stuff. So when we came up with a modular cybersecurity platform, the first people to sell it into the market were our direct people to show that you can actually sell it. And then you go to the channel partners and say, you see, this stuff actually sells. You can actually make money on this. So this is why in the previous slide I said, you can't skip direct. You can't go all channel immediately. All the companies that sell predominantly through channel have a direct arm as well. Even Cisco, which I think is about 90% channel, has a direct team. And that's because you need to prove to the channel that this stuff works. And the only way you can prove it to them is if you can sell it. And you can't just expect them to sell it if you can sell it. So again, we grew our channel program very aggressively. We're at about 300, and actually this is a little bit old, but we plan to be close to 1,000 channel partners by the end of this year. Now, when I say partners and channel, what do I actually mean? So for us, there are three different types. There is a lead exchange channel. So for example, we have some companies that we work with that basically they throw leads our way and they get a commission. We close the deal. They don't do any of the actual selling. They do the introduction, and that is it. We have service providers, which are our largest channel. Those are MSPs, MSSPs, and so forth. These are people that already have a relationship with that mid-market small business, and they're selling them normally IT services. So what have we done? We came to the table and told them, now you can sell security effectively, safely, and very profitably. You see, building that big stack that they had to do in the past and trying to sell it into the enterprise was easy, not easy, but doable, and they could make money on it. But selling that expensive stack to the mid-market or small business was completely impossible. Definitely not something they could make money on. And then my favorite, and this is where you guys come in as well, is extensions. It's companies that can actually extend, we can extend their service, they might be able to extend ours. I want to pause for a second and tell you an observation. Before coming here, I got about 20 LinkedIn in-mails from people in this show, in this conference, basically trying to sell me, which is fine. I believe that founders have three jobs: sell, corporate development, fundraising. That's what you need to do in life, right? So selling is really, really good. But the thinking was, buy my service. Coro, why don't you, Dror, come listen to what my service can do for you. And I think that's great, but that's missing a much, much larger opportunity. The opportunity is, how can we help each other? How can we gain access to each other's customer base and grow both our businesses exponentially as opposed to one deal at a time? So I want to give you a great example of that, but before, I want to show you a very ugly graph. See, the channel is expensive to maintain. And if you look at that, an average channel partner will start generating revenue about 2 months in and become profitable for you only 5 months in. So the expectation that a channel will become profitable immediately and you're going to make money on them immediately is the wrong expectation. You need to know that you need to invest in the channel. And you see that there is an actual dip in month 6. Anybody can guess what that dip is? It's the commissions you pay them, right? They started selling seriously in month 5. You need to outlay their commission, and they're barely making even for you, so that commission dips you. And it's a very painful check to write, especially if you're not a very profitable organization. But it's an important one. I always say, to our the channel partners at CP, one of the guys said, "Oh, you're going to have to get a truckload of cash to pay me my commission because I'm going to sell so much Coro." And I said, "I'm not going to get a truckload. I'm going to drive the truck and bring it to you, because I think that if they're successful, and if I'm paying them a lot of commission, that means that they're making a lot of money for Coro." Okay, so I want to jump into what is a good channel partnership. What does a good channel partnership look like? So it depends on the who, the what, and the why, or as I call it, audience, incentive, and reason. But the thing is, they're not separate. So the best channel partners that you're going to have are the ones that are in the center there of the Venn diagram. If you only have 2 of these 3, it's not going to work. It's just not going to work. We've tried it numerous times. What do I mean by that? Audience. Audience means that they must be selling, your channel partner or potential partner must be selling to your ICP. If they're not selling to your ICP, the likelihood that they're going to be successful is 0, not 2%. There has to be an incentive for them, and the incentive doesn't necessarily have to be money. I'll show you something very interesting in the next few slides. But there has to be a really clear incentive for them to go out and sell your stuff. And 3, there has to be a reason. And the reason here is actually not theirs or yours. It's their end customers have to have a reason to buy whatever it is that you're selling through the channel partner. If all three don't exist, this is going to be what I call a paper partnership. A very nice contract that your legal team is going to file somewhere that's never going to generate revenue. So I want to give you a quick story. So quick story. In 2003, the FTC, Federal Trade Commission, established something called the safeguard rules. The safeguard rules were rules that defined what is the responsibility of a company from data protection perspective and cybersecurity perspective. Imagine 2003. And then they tried to push it through, didn't become a reality. In 2021, the rules were amended and included a lot of cybersecurity things that were supposed to be enacted by December 2022. The rules were so harsh, and people suddenly understood that, holy crap, the FTC is now going to go after me if I have any kind of financial dealings with anyone. So historically, the FTC and the federal government in general went after the big enterprise as far as rules are concerned and fines and so forth and so on. Suddenly, this rule said anyone with financial dealings that are electronic with anyone has to have a cybersecurity program in place to be compliant, or else they must cease to do that part of their business. So the people that got affected were private trainers, stores, people that you would never think about, and car dealerships. There are over 9,500 car dealerships in the US. They are the second largest originator of consumer loans in the US. And this rule basically said either comply or you can't offer loans to your customers anymore, which is a huge part of their business. Well, there is a compliance company, a SaaS compliance company called ComplyAuto that was providing a compliance platform to car dealerships in the US. Of the 9,500, about 4,000 of them were on that platform. And then they said, we've met each other, and they said, okay, we sell them regular compliance, EIP and employee compliance and OSHA compliance and all the rest of the stuff in this platform. How can we now sell them cybersecurity compliance as well? We worked together, we created a joint offering, went to market, and virtually all of their 4,500 car dealerships are on our platform today. This was one of the fastest onboardings we've ever had with a partner. Why? One, remember what I said, audience. They're selling to my audience. I'm selling to mid-market. Car dealerships are mid-market. By the way, the car dealership that you're driving by and you see car dealership on the road, it's normally part of a conglomerate of like anywhere between 5 to 20 of them. So it's a mid-market business. It's about 2,000 employees, and they have an inventory of anywhere between $20 to $50 million. So it's a real business. So one, the audience was spot on, our audience. Two, they had a really good incentive to sell us, because that would mean that they can generate brand new revenue and create stickiness with their customer base. And three, there was a reason. Their customers needed this, because if they hadn't done this, they couldn't have offered loans to their customers, which is why also the onboarding was so quick in this realm. So, just a couple of KPIs before I get off the stage. So how do you measure a partner program? One, how many partners do you have? What is their activation rate? Activation rate is basically the difference between paper contract and actual producing contract, where the partner actually produces revenue on your behalf. Activation rate varies dramatically depending on the industry. Partner retention, if they stick with you, that means that you're a good partner to them. And then partner engagement, how engaged are they with you, and year-over-year growth. That's for your partner program. How do you measure your partners? Because they need to know that you're measuring them as well. because you're in a symbiotic relationship. And what we do, actually, we have financial incentives that are driven by those KPIs. So for example, how much revenue did they source? How much revenue did they influence? What's the number of active deals? And of course, the all-in cost of acquisition. So we covered a really good story around a really successful partnership. I didn't have time to tell you about the unsuccessful partnerships, but grab me over lunch or for coffee and we'll talk about them, because we had a lot of them as well. You learn through it. You know, you get a lot of partnerships that there's one partnership that cost us millions of dollars and moved nothing. And then an example of ComplyAuto is a great example of a relationship with a SaaS company that is symbiotic. We offered them something they needed to offer their customers needed it. We had a love fist. So I'd like to leave you with this. When you approach another SaaS company, us for example, don't think about selling us on your software. Think about how can we leverage each other well beyond that one sale. Yeah, so if you sell us your SaaS, that's great. You get 300 people on your platform. But what if I told you that there's an opportunity for you to make 100x that if you build the right kind of relationship with other SaaS companies? And I actually think that SaaS companies are the most ripe for this kind of collaboration. So with that, any questions? We have... Thank you. Yeah, okay. So how did we make the decision? We felt we had no choice, and when you hire a really senior guy into your executive team, you've got to let them do what they say they know how to do. And he came in and he looked at our plan and he said, you guys are nuts. We need to go channel. All 4 founders were very nervous. I can tell you that for sure, because relinquishing control, we're cybersecurity people and we're Israeli. Relinquishing control is not part of our vocabulary, right? So relinquishing control and letting other people run with our destiny was really difficult. The second question, resources. So we do have a channel partner program on our site. There is some information there, but there's tons and tons of data about channel partnerships and programs. And there is an analyst firm called Canalis that focuses only on the channel. They're a little expensive, but their content is amazing. Anything else? Yes, sir. I can't hear you. I'm old. I couldn't hear the question, I'm sorry. How do I? Great question. How do I think about commission split and the duration? The only way this works is if your partner doesn't think you're out to get them. So I'll give you an example. Anybody here from Microsoft? Great. Microsoft screws their channel program partners. What do? They give them a nice 30% commission on the first year and a nice 5% commission on the second year when the customer renews. What does that create an incentive to the channel partner to do? Churn the customer. Now Microsoft thinks, oh, who's going to churn us? We're Microsoft. And they're somewhat right, unfortunately. Oh, I have the Oscar. So my point is, we not only continue to pay the same amount, we actually increase the amount depending on volume. If the partner generates more volume, we will actually give them better commission over time, because our objective is to make it as lucrative for them as possible, so they sell much more of Coro and much less of anything else. I'm sorry, the music is on. Catch me later and ask me questions.
Thanks very much.